All right, and sharing the screen. Cool. So let's look and see what we did yesterday, as usual. I did talk to Kyle about this, and he is planning on continuing. So, yeah. No, the correct response is nobody could possibly do it like you do, Vonnie. Okay, so we completed the sign-in component. We updated the router so the landing page didn't show on other pages. Remember that hello world was showing. We started on the sign-in component, so the sign-up component, which was a close copy of the sign-in component, and we created the sign-up user action. We need to fix a bug in the sign-up user action where it's not sending the data to the server. And I have a sneaking suspicion that the sign-in user action isn't sending data to the server either, but we couldn't tell because we didn't have any users to try and sign in. And then we need some form validation on the sign-up form that we're going to go through Redux form, which has been nothing but a pleasure in the past. So, okay, so let's look at that bug first. So here we have, this is our server, and so we were saying, okay, here's the primary city, the password, and the email that we received. And then this doesn't look like anything that we're interested in. Okay. And then here, if we go to the, it's not the reducer, but the actions. So we're doing sign up, and we're doing it with email, primary city, and password. And I think sign up user is not getting actually past this email, primary city, and password. We can check my guess here. Okay. All right. Is that not, I'm sorry, I'm just so Python based. This is how you would do it in Python. Is this not how you do it here?
Reverse. So you do the array got joined.
Oh, got it. Okay. Okay. So let's just try again. And here, bye. I don't think we have to reload this, but we'll do it anyway. So. Okay. Oh, and yeah, notice, look at what it printed here. I think that was our, yeah, so nothing. Okay, so let's see where it's getting called. So here, this handle submit is this dot handle form submit. And so, and this dot handle form submit is taking this, but how in the world is it getting past this? Let's see. Okay, so, and this is the handle form submit. No. Trying to think about too many things at once. I'm again feeling the time crunch, which means that I'm not at my, I'm a little frantic. Okay, so we didn't get any args for the sign up user either. So apparently stuff that I was copying and pasting from, I thought that Redux form would give this to me and it didn't. So let's try and figure out how Redux form does handle submit, or has Celeste figured it out already? Okay. This render alert, actually, that's just a function that is conditionally giving us an alert if there's a problem. Yeah, so let's go into Redux form and let's look for all right, apparently you're probably sponsored by no one at this point. So let's look at handle submit. Okay, so you're getting a handle submit from props, which I believe is what we're doing here. We are getting our handle submit from props. Okay, fine. Here we do have button type equals submit as opposed to we do have button type equals submit as opposed to action equals submit, which somebody was strenuously objecting to yesterday. I think it might have been Patrick. So, but I don't think that's the problem either. I think actually, let me see. Submit. What's that? I didn't push them? Okay, try that. Although I must have, because I was looking at the, but whatever. Okay, so.
There's one from 23 hours ago.
Okay, well, there should be one from now. Okay, so here we have sign up. We haven't, so it should be getting past a handle submit as a prop. I don't think we're passing it a handle submit. The way that they're doing it here is they actually are passing it a handle submit. Is that right? Handle submit is coming from the props. Oh, there's a bunch. No, and it looks like this is all just coming from the props. Oh, look, no. And so this actually is, okay, so they're saying on submit, we want to handle submit. Too many submits. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Ours is on submit. We have handle submit, right, and it's this handle form submit, which is, so submit here is a function that, I don't know, it just like does shit, you know. And so is ours, right? Ours is a function.
Okay, perfect.
So if there's, yeah, so they're just doing like whatever. But it does seem to have a values, right? And so here we are probably in the model of Stephen Greider destructuring the values. So, but let's actually, console log what we're getting. We are not getting anything. So I think our form is not set up properly. Let's figure out why. Okay, so let's go back to the example, which okay, so this example, they're using field, and then they're using this Redux form, and they're doing Redux form, and they're just giving, they're not even, so the fields just have names. The form has an on submit. They're using the field the same as we are. Our fields have names as well, and components, and labels, and types. Ours look exactly the same. Okay, we got 45 minutes, you guys. We can do it. Okay, so, all right, so our problem is that handle form submit is getting called, but with no values. And the question is, how is this form determining what values to give to handle submit? Certainly, it's doing the right thing in that it's calling our handle submit function. So we don't have to worry about that. Does it have to do with our binding of this? If I do a bind of this down here, because I know this is how it was on mine that worked. Just want to see. They didn't do any binding, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, but they don't even use this and whatever. Their example is like, I love the Beatles. Okay, fine. So.
But in ours, wouldn't it be inside of parentheses? Because we're finding this of the form submit and of the handle submit.
Yeah.
Anyway, really great. Good job. You're gonna miss me, Bonnie.
I totally am. Okay, no, we're still getting values as none. So let's just forget about all of that. Okay, so let's do some Googling on this. So let's say Redux forms handle submit not passing values. No data received. Data not being passed. This is 2015, fresh off the presses. Object form values is empty. Not sending data. Okay, well, we're definitely not the only people to have had this problem. So, well, this one has 0 votes, and have you used button type equals submit? Yes. I did not read through the whole code. You need to use field components. We do.
So
You figured it out?
well, I have a theory.
Okay.
I went and I looked at the input component, which is what is getting called by field. The input component is using field set, and I think that
Okay. All right. Let's.
I'm
But
looking at the Redux form docs. And it looks like they use fields potentially as.
oh, you mean like the capital F field? Wait. Okay. So are you referring to?
So I'm just wondering if
You're referring to this right here?
No, so I'm referring to it in input.
in render field. Got it. So let's go to render field. And they have a div and a div with a label and an input and a div and a div. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I was just wondering where the field set.
This input does have dot, dot, dot input, which we did not do. Let's see whether that we possibly need that, because it might have some other special Redux form-ish things. So far, that is my favorite possibility. Let's see what else. They put the type. Okay. Shall we try it? Perfect.
That's exactly what we wanted.
Okay. But I do think that, I mean, now it is now stuff is happening, right? When I do this and I enter it, it's like clearing it right away. So it actually does feel like it's more wired up now than it was before. Maybe not in the way we wish. Look at the bright side. So let's look over here. And I want to look at my clarity field. And what do I have in here? So on my input, I just give it a class. No, I do. I give it the dot, dot, dot input here too. So clearly we need to give it, or now we've upset Amin. Clearly we need to give it the dot, dot, dot input, right? I'd say that's, in 2 working examples, it has the dot, dot, dot input. The question is, why do we have, and here I have it in a field set too, so that's good. That's good information. But now, yeah, the question is, why can't I actually type anything in there? New problem. Okay, so we'll close all of these. And my new problem is text disappears immediately from Redux form field component.
I remember having that problem in React. Where
I didn't name the reducer the exact name from the examples, which unfortunately led to this difficult to debug. Make sure the reducer is listed. Found the problem here. Redux forms, okay. I don't know if I did pull in those reducers, however. So let's check. Although I must have, because it's sending, well, no, the actions, I can't complete a sentence. So let's, okay, so oh no, I do. I have the auth reducer here. I don't know about that. Okay. Try logging this when you input the text field. It could be that this is not. Okay. Is this even Redux form? But I'm not using immutable. Okay. All right, let's, we're doing a lot of sort of like throwing random dart debugging. Let's do some more. What can we do to debug that would be more focused? What's that? Read the source code? Okay, so for sign up, this .handle form submit is not getting past anything. And one would think it's because the fields aren't what they need to be.
Also, could there be a problem in the handle submit function that's calling that?
In this handle submit function?
Yeah.
There could be. However, I believe that is just something we're pulling off of props that got added by Redux form, right? Because if we look back at the example, what they are doing is, let's see. So they're taking props and they're just pulling this like handle submit and then like pristine reset and submitting and so forth off of props. And it is, and the thing about that handle submit, well, right, it's sort of doing what we want it to do. It's definitely calling this, but it's not calling it with the arguments that we hope for. So these are all within the form. This is just a form, has an on submit, it has fields, has an error, has a submit button, and then that's the end of the form. And in the fields have names, types, and labels and components. And I believe I actually do the same thing, name, label, type. I have a required, but I doubt that's the problem. Although I can certainly try taking the required off and seeing, but I'm pretty sure that my personal project has that required and it's not a problem. Yeah, well now, I mean, our problem now actually, I forgot, I got lost. Our problem, when we added that ... input, oh, well, hold on. If we go into input, I don't know. Oh, I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is. Let me check and see. No, well, because I thought maybe you'd have to give it like some sort of value. Let's actually see what's going on here. Let's inspect this. So if we, Jesus.
I guess I'm just like, I'm not understanding what that abstraction of the input field is doing. It's making it hard for me to understand what's happening.
Got it. Well, so let's actually take a look and see. So we have, so this input, what it's doing is it's just like, it's putting in type and then it's taking all of the key value pairs from this input and just like throwing them in as props. All right, so it gives us a name, and notice it's giving us a value, and that value is blank. And I think that might be part of the problem, because like this value, like I'm trying to change the value, and it's like, no, dude, the value is nothing. It's a little weird. And then it just has all this styling, which I really don't care about. This is our problem, this value. Let's see actually, since I have it up, let's look at this one that works and see what the value is on this one. Oh no, it really just has value, but then if I do ABC, notice that value is changing to ABC. And if I go over here, it's because that weird background image, is this like a material UI thing? If I go, no, because if I go here and I try and change the value, it actually won't change. It's not actually changing the actual value. So it's not just a weird styling thing. And okay, so now we've got to do more inspection. Okay, so in this render clarity field, I want to see exactly what this input is. So let's, okay, so fine. And can I go here? Can I refresh this? Is it still running? Oh, good for it. Okay. And if we go into the console, okay, so notice by the way, oh, do you know what it is? Or are you just happy that I knew what it was?
I want to wait until you tell me what it was and then see if I was right.
Is there anything you'd like to say at this juncture, James? Okay. Why is all of this happening here?
When they did binding, so it goes update the state and then the state updates the value of the form.
Okay. And why is everything getting updated here and not on the other one? I'm getting a freaking event every time here. What causes a component to re-render? What's causing the state to change? Or what causes state to change? What?
Telling it to change, like
What tells the state to change?
having an event handler that tells the state to change when something happens.
Event handlers don't change the state. What changes the state? In Redux?
In Redux, the action to the reducer that changes the value of the store.
Reducers change the state.
And have we connected our reducer?
We have connected our auth reducer. We haven't connected the Redux form reducer. Somebody's gonna nail his debugging interview.
I should have, this is almost the same issue that I had yesterday. I should have gotten to it sooner, yes.
So look at this. That was a fun one. Percentages? I'm 95. What are you, James? Okay, so that's good. Okay, check it out. We actually have args. Woohoo! Okay, so now, and we have values. Oh man, life is good. Okay, so let's go back to sign up and let's just take out all these console logs and just go to the reducer and take out that console log. Also, or not the reducer, sorry, the action. Okay, and now let's actually, now I feel like we can do better debugging on the server. So, oh. Column name of relation users doesn't exist. I don't know that we ever actually initialized the database on the on our server. We didn't have to, not the real one. We just initialized the test database.
This is exciting. We're going to be connecting
To the actual
very
database.
well-tested database.
Okay, so okay, so you 85%ers, you were right. I shouldn't have to reload here, but I did get bad login information. Cannot read property ID of undefined. Okay, so I think, well, you didn't print out anything for me here. Wasn't I printing stuff out on the server too? Yeah, why didn't, oh, this was all if you didn't have all the info. So presumably everything worked out great, except that it didn't return what we were expecting it to return. Okay, so let's go back here and look more closely at this error. Cannot read property ID of undefined in our auth handler. So, and I'm pretty sure that we're not getting the response that we are expecting. So let's go back and check and see what the response is that we're getting. This is my project. Let's go here. That's the server. Okay, so here, action payload user. In the auth, oh no, we're still in the actions. I just know that because I've been dealing with testing this for the past few days, and I know very well that there's something called auth handler in the actions. Okay, so it's looking for ID, which is this, and it can't find it because response.data.user is undefined. So let's just see what we're getting here. Actually, let's just look at the whole response. It might be a mess, but we'll start with that.
Because you've already signed up with that email.
Okay, so here's the response, and our response has some data, and our data has a token, and it's a long token, but it has no user. So let's make sure we're sending the user as well. Right, so here we go. No, wait, that's not it. Right, so here we have the token, and it's only because I don't have time that I'm not updating my tests to check for the user as well. See what happens. And here I do think that I just want to do response.data here rather than looking at that whole thing. Okay, so. Okay, so now I do have a user, and it does have an ID. Amazing. Oh, in fact, it rerouted us. You guys might not be able to see, but to users 3, and cannot read property params of undefined. And that's because of the whole params thing that we were doing. But honestly, y'alls, I'm going to call this a victory for a minute. So let's just savor this and do some committing and pushing. All right, so fixed, or let's see, wired up Redux form properly, right? Because that was basically our big problem, is that we were hastily doing Redux form stuff and not really making sure that all of our I's were dotted and T's were crossed. Okay, so now let's go to, so that's totally fine. And our problem now is in our users component. Man, we haven't looked at that one for a while. All right, so, okay, and so this is trying to get this .props.match.param. And there is no such thing. All right, so okay, what's your problem there?
No. Yeah. Oh. Can you pass in props without having a constructor?
I think you can. It's a good question, but I think you can. Okay, let's go back and try. Doesn't seem like it's here, does it? What else did we change? But I don't think I changed anything. Like, so for example, I'm just gonna, and if I just put this back exactly how it was. Oh, apparently this has been open for quite some time. But yeah, I didn't change anything. Say that again?
There was something weird last time we had that error.
Oh God, yes. Oh my God, you're right. It was like basically a like you can't get there from here. All right, let's see. All right, hold on.
I think, yeah, it was like some JSX.
Oh, now I don't remember what test's password is. All right, so, all right, here we are. And actually now we are no longer getting that error. Okay, so first of all, wait, so here's all the props. No, that's the response data. I'm actually not, it's not console logging props at all. And now if I refresh this, yeah, then, yeah, you're right. It was something really weird. I think you're remembering correctly. Okay, so now we're back to cannot read property params. And so props, we just get auth in dispatch. And so the question is, how do we get this param? And somebody told us we could get it with this .props.match. What's that?
I think that was you, Bonnie.
So we're going to abandon this just because we want to try and get good stuff. So instead of this.props.match.params.id, I'm going to do this.props.auth.user.id. This is the Redux store, the state from the Redux store. It has a user in it. That user has an ID. And because of that, now we actually don't even need in our sign up, or let's see, it's actually in our reducer. We don't need to, no, sorry, it's in our action. We don't need to redirect to the user ID. So we're just gonna. Okay, maybe good. Okay. All right, so let's look at why it's not doing anything. Let's look at the page source and see whether it's got, yeah, it just doesn't have anything on it. So let's make sure, oh, I think I have to change my router because before I had users / something and now, so let's go into the router. And I really just want, let's just make it user. Oh, I think because I did a refresh, auth, if we look at auth, no auth, yeah, auth doesn't have crap in it, right? So what we're going to be doing in the last 13 minutes is we're going to be wiring up a higher order component that makes it so you can't get to this page unless you've authenticated. So, but let's get to it by authenticating. No, okay, there we go. All right, so user is logged in and, okay, that part wasn't so good. But other than that, so auth.authenticated is supposed to be true. I'm not sure why that's, maybe it's having trouble translating the Boolean to a string. I'm not going to worry about it for now. Okay, so let's just actually, why don't we just say this?
The time goes down. That's just like,
fine. So. Great. And fine. So that's easy enough, right? Instead, I could be like, and I can do a link. And let me remember what links do. Problem is I'm totally interested in what Di's talking about, so I'm like listening to her too.
that's the one.
Link to, okay, that's easy enough.
It's fun to play against people. Yeah, but like what they do is they make it so you can gamble your money away. So other people build apps that pay them to go into an app like for money interface.
Why is it like getting all upset?
So game developers pay people to use their platform.
You can't, a JSX element needs to have one
Or like one-on-one.
overarching element.
But it's like a lot of the games are changing for future versions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It does seem a little arbitrary.
People are saying that
Okay, so now let's go back to here. Okay, so it's pretty ugly.
I'm feeling they're gonna lose. And then like all these computers either go to the start league. So that's what happened with
All right, that was not worth the time.
Oh, is it back? Yeah, that makes sense. One of my clients.
So if we sign in, ta-da! Okay. Do you want to work on higher order components or do you want to work on signing out? Signing out. Okay, so let's.
It was funny, he was my youngest client. He was like younger than I was by a year, and my father, he had like
Higher order components are better because then you don't have to do your own like this logic on every page. Talk to my buddy Stevie about higher order components in his advanced React course. The other thing that you're going to want to talk to him about in the advanced React course is, I'm logged in, right? No, I'm not. If I refresh the page, which is a problem, right? So, and he talks about how to solve that. Okay, so now let's get a sign out. 8 minutes, we can totally do this because I'm basically just gonna copy from my other project. So, sign out. No, this is not my other project, this one is. This is a sign out component. It's not really necessary. You can just like throw them back to the home page. So that's what I think I'm probably going to do. So let's forget about that. But as long as I'm here, why don't I take this and put it on the home page just so that on the home page you can You can also, what Mr. Grider does is actually put this in the header to put your sign in and sign out in the header. And then you change it in the header to, or you sign in and sign up and then you change it to sign out if the person's actually signed in. So if we had longer, we would do that more skillfully. You'll also notice, because I'm a devoted Stephen Grider fan, I have that here as well. So, okay, cool. So now what we really care about, instead of where it goes after we sign out, we care about what it does to state, right? So what we want is on the user page, let's see, let's make a new action. And in this action, we're just going to call it sign out user. What do we want to do in this action? Good. Does it need to take any arguments? Ah, yes. So but all of that is going to be done in the reducer because that's where the state gets changed. So here, all we're going to do is we're going to just return something of type sign out. And then we have to do, oh, I guess instead of sign out, I'm using unauth user. I blame Steven. So now let's look at our reducer, and I actually think that it's already in there. Yeah. So authenticated false, user null, and we can also remove from local storage, but if we are going to remove from local storage, that part has to be done in the action, right? The reducer manages all of the state, but the action manages everything else. So let's go back to the action, and it's actually important that we do that. So local storage dot, and this is one of the reasons I really like VS Code. I'm sure there's Atom extensions that can do this too, but you get it free out of the box. Dot remove item. I think we called it token, but let's just look and see. Yeah, we called it token. Okay. So now let's go back here. Oh, and then the last thing we have to do is on the user page, or like I said, this will actually be on the in the header or the nav bar. So on the user page here, we'll say sign out. So and instead of it being a link, what are we going to do? How are we going to get the sign out functionality when somebody clicks on this? And so the action was called well, it's actually, yeah, no, this is what we want. We want sign out user. Let's make sure that we, oh, look at that, sign out user. What's wrong here? What do I need to do? Put it in curly braces. What did you say, James?
So it's coming from, wait,
well, there were two things wrong. I think you've got your finger on what the other one is.
it needs to be the stop props.
Yes, and how does it get into this dot props?
We need to import it, and then we also need to connect it down at the bottom.
Ah, so smart. Okay, good. So okay, and then, and now it's, oh, it has to be props. Right. And I should have made you say that, but.
Instead of just put it at the bottom. I guess the more technical one.
But I didn't do anything to it. It's still there. That's a bummer. All right, now you're just like being an asshole. One of them is the directory, and one of them is the file name. But okay, fine. You're really insistent. So it's right there. Okay, but maybe I'm importing it. Where am I importing it from? This is the problem with Webpack, is it doesn't actually give you like a, okay, so it's in React Router. It's also in header. Oh, no, this is just the bundle, whatever. Okay. So in React Router, and it doesn't seem to have any trouble.
Did it get exported? Must have.
Oh, that's a good question, though. It's certainly decent question. And what we did actually change something down here. Well, we did change this. So maybe if we go, it's a great debugging thing. So let's just change it back and see whether it's happy again. And it's not. So that wasn't the problem. Why user? What's that? It's always a good question. I just want to see if I just like forget about everything. It really is a problem with the user. So if I go back up here, I didn't change it. It's the same as it was before. All right, I don't want to keep Carolyn waiting. So I'm going to commit this. Yeah. You kept us like 15 minutes yesterday for that, but okay.
When I know, the function that you're passing the handler, you're instantiating it.
In user, are you talking about?
Yeah, I want to see user.
Sign out user.
Oh, you're right. That's a bad idea.
I don't know why it would cause that problem, but
Neither do I, but I like it. Oh, I also, this is button. Oh, so maybe it just like hated us on general principle because users sucked.
it's like that doesn't count.
Exactly.
Well, actually, when I've had a mistake in a file, my pack has done that to me before. It's just like I can't read this file because it syntactically doesn't make sense to me. But
Oh, the suspense. Oh, okay. We just have to go through.
Just
Right.
one side.
Oh yeah. We actually have achieved authentication, front end and back end.
Kind of.
What do you mean, kind of?
If you refresh it, it signs out.
Yes. Well, yes. Okay. Stop reading on our parade. All right. So thank you, everybody. I will see you tomorrow